Here we want to compare the measure of two angles, AXB and AYB. And so we'll just mark those on our figure here. So here's the angle AXB. I'll do that in red. And here's the angle AYB. I'll do that in green. And so we want to compare these angles. Is one greater than the other, or are they equal? Or in case of choice D, do we just not know? One comment about choice D, not going to say it's never right. It is right sometimes. It's a pretty rare choice. But don't pick D if your reasoning is, I don't really know what's going on, so I'm going to pick D. That is usually a trap. If you're going to pick a choice like D, which is basically we don't have enough information to determine the relationship, hopefully you'd have a reason to do so. Like there's something in the problem where you can deduce, I actually don't have this information. I need this piece of information or that in order to compare them. So if you have like proof for D, I would pick it. But if you're going to make a guess here, I would pretty much never guess a choice like D because a lot of times it's a trap. That being said, the answer is not going to be D. There is a way to compare these. How do we do that? The key to recognize is both of these angles, AXB and AYB, they both cut off this arc right here, this arc AB. They're both what are called inscribed angles, where the vertex is on the circumference of the circle, and they both cut off this piece of the circumference, this arc AB. And the deal is, if they cut off the same arc AB, then they are the same angle, and that's why we get choice C. Now, you don't need to know this for this question, but the number of degrees in an inscribed angle is half the degrees of arc that it cuts off. So just making this up, if this were 80 degrees, this arc AB, then each of these would be 40. And again, they're the same because they're cutting off the same arc. Not that the problem asked it, but just to be thorough with our review, if we had central angles instead, let's say we had this central angle here, we'll call it AOB, that would cut off this arc AB, but it would not be equivalent to these two because the central angle is equal to, in degrees of arc, the measure of AB. So the angle AOB in this scenario would be 80. But in this case, these are both inscribed angles. They both cut off the same arc, so they're equal. We get choice C.